Welcome to the Renaissance, a time of art and culture, of Shakespeare and of Michelangelo. That's a Ninja Turtle. That's not that's Michelangelo, the artist. Today we are going to still no electricity yet. We have moved on from the medieval era into the Renaissance era. First I will teach you what the Renaissance means. Then I'm going to teach you what made the Renaissance era unique. And of course we are going to end with the music from the Renaissance era, the composers, the instruments. And doth has it that the intro is to cometh next. Hit it! Remember, I want you to think of the musical eras as a timeline of music history, starting in the past and leading to the present. Each era contains unique music, ideas, instruments, and composers. The Renaissance era begins at the end of the medieval era, which is the year 1400. The Renaissance goes all the way until the year 1600. Now, let us begin with the Renaissance. You see... Beethoven, again, I'm really sorry, but it's not your time yet. Oh, you know that? Oh, you want to know what Renaissance means? Alright, yeah, I can start with the definition of Renaissance. Renaissance means rebirth. Or in our cases with music, it's going to mean recycling or reusing. The entire Renaissance era began with the rebirth or the reusing of ancient art and writing from Greece and Rome. Well, why would they want to do that? The best way that I can compare today to what they did in the Renaissance is by looking at how Disney remakes some of its old movies. For instance, the newer version of Beauty and the Beast. The older version was animated. Every single scene was hand-drawn. We didn't have the technology or the capabilities to make a live-action one back then, so we're remaking them with modern technology now. Now that musicians were writing their music down, Renaissance composers and artists wanted to remake the music from older times when it wasn't written. Parchment. Another important part about the Renaissance was the inventions. The printing press was a very important new tool in the Renaissance. Oh, sorry. This isn't the printing press. This is a modern printer. This is the printing press. The printing press allowed people to make copies of handwritten documents. Before that, if they wanted 100 copies of one piece of paper, they had to write them all out by hand. The printing press's new technology allowed musicians to make copies of their written music. This meant they could sell it and make money. They could share it with others so they could learn and develop their skills in music. And this resulted in hundreds and hundreds of new musicians and new music ideas. One of those ideas was the retelling of ancient Greek and Roman stories, except they'd do it through music, performing, and singing. We call that opera.
Operas are like plays, but instead of talking, they sing.
This is Claudio Monteverdi. He's a composer who started in the Renaissance period, and he's also the pioneer of opera. Take a listen to a segment of one of his operas. In addition to the instruments that were in the medieval era, like flutes and recorders and the lute, there are a bunch of really new instruments that came about during the Renaissance. The bassoon was born to extend the kinds of sounds that musicians can use when composing. Keyboard instruments like the harpsichord looks kind of like a piano, except instead of a hammer hitting a string, it plucked and pulled a string similar to that of a guitar. Because the mechanism inside of a harpsichord pulled the strings instead of hit them like a hammer, which is what happens on a piano, it gives it a very different sound than a piano. Now, I don't have a harpsichord because they're expensive, rare, and very old, but I do have a keyboard that makes the sound of a harpsichord. Here's the sound of a piano. And here's the harpsichord sound. This is Giovanni Gabrieli, another composer during the Renaissance, and here's one of his pieces performed on a harpsichord. In addition to all these new instruments, larger groups of musicians also began to start playing together. It's the beginnings of the orchestra. We call these ensembles. These large ensembles would play instrumental music, music only to be performed by instruments. Some of these large groups would play songs meant for dancing to. This is a dance called a pavan. And during the medieval period, we talked about monophony and how it's one melody line being sung by multiple people. Well, in the Renaissance, we see polyphony, which means multiple sounds happening at the same time. This is the beginning of harmony, more than one note sounding together. Here is the Renaissance composer Palestrina. This is a song that was meant for a chorus of singers. There are 4 different parts being sung at the same exact time. And as always, let's end with a review of all of the things that we've learned in this video. The Renaissance is the rebirth of ancient ideas from the Greeks and the Romans, through new technology like the printing press. The Renaissance saw the beginnings of opera. Opera is storytelling through playing, singing, and performing on stage. New instruments like the bassoon and the harpsichord started to become popular. And we see the beginnings of harmony through polyphony, multiple melodies all singing at the same time. And that is it for today. I will see you next time during the Baroque era. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.